Artemis marked the start of the next stage of human exploration. With help from the private sector and international partners, NASA will create a long-term presence on the Moon in order to prepare for missions to Mars. The first woman will be sent to the Moon by NASA's Artemis missions, enabling the most complete examination of the lunar surface to date. It will set up the first permanent presence on the Moon in partnership with other nations and business partners. With the knowledge we have gained on and around the Moon, the next significant step will be to send the first astronauts to Mars. Why go to the Moon? With Artemis, we will showcase innovative business models, technological advancements, and capabilities required for Mars and other future expeditions. Examine the Moon to discover more about its beginnings and past, our solar system, the Moon, and the planet Earth. As we increase our country's worldwide economic influence, we should establish American leadership and a strategic presence on the Moon. Increase our international and commercial partnerships. Motivate young people to pursue STEM careers. How do we get there? Astronauts on board the Orion spacecraft will travel over 250,000 miles from Earth to lunar orbit thanks to NASA's potent new rocket, the Space Launch System, SLS, which is scheduled to launch from Cape Canaveral, Florida's Kennedy Space Center. For missions to the Moon's surface, astronauts will dock Orion at the gateway and switch to a human landing mechanism. Before safely returning to Earth, they will circle back to the orbiting outpost and board Orion once again. When will we get there? Beginning in 2022 and continuing throughout the decade. We will use commercial lunar payload delivery to bring a variety of scientific instruments and technological demonstrations to the lunar surface. We will launch 2 trips around the Moon to test our deep space exploration systems before a lunar surface landing. We plan to launch Artemis 1, an unmanned mission to test the SLS and Orion spacecraft in tandem, and then Artemis 2, the first crewed SLS and Orion flight test. What will we do there? While Mars continues to be our long-term objective, we have focused first on using both human and robotic explorers to investigate the Moon's surface. New places will be visited by astronauts, starting with the lunar South Pole. On the Moon, we'll discover and use water and other essential resources required for prolonged exploration. Explore the wonders of the Moon to gain knowledge about the universe and our home planet. Learn how to function and survive 3 days away from home on the surface of another celestial body. Obtain the technology we require and test them before sending astronauts on expeditions to Mars, which could take up to 3 years round trip. To assess the Orion spacecraft and SLS launch vehicle in preparation for upcoming crewed Moon missions, Artemis 1 is an unmanned test flight. If everything goes as planned, NASA will launch the crewed Artemis 2 lunar mission in 2024 and the crewed Artemis 3 moon landing mission in the early 2025s. On Artemis 1, the organization's brand new Space Launch System megarocket and the Orion crew capsule will make their debut flights. The SLS rocket will lift off the unmanned Orion spacecraft on its 42-day journey to orbit the Moon and then return to Earth. Currently, it is anticipated that Artemis 1 would launch from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida no earlier than late on August 29, 2022. Going back to the Moon will be the shining moment of our generation. This moment will belong to all of us, the Artemis generation. Are you ready?
Encourage us by subscribing to our channel and watching more videos like this. Hit the subscribe button now to get updates on astronomy, cosmology and science.